So we just got back from watching Kong Skull Island.
I had a lot of fun with it.
It was definitely a fun time. There was even some kids sitting over a few seats from us that were having a pretty damn good time as well.
It's so good. I love it. Like, there was like a bunch of parts of the movie and I could just hear them go,
Yeah,
like they were
like,
just so into it.
One of them was even like hiding behind his knees the entire time.
Yeah.
But the thing about this movie was that they did a pretty good job at setting up the monster universe, even though we had already had Godzilla to kind of start doing that to begin with. But I felt like this one went back to the, beginning stages and did what Godzilla really didn't do, for me at least, when it comes to the monster universe that we're about to get.
Yeah, I mean, this movie isn't like the perfect movie at all. I was just so engaged in all of the action that was happening that I was just like, what is going on?
And there's some really choppy dialogue at times where you're hearing members of the platoon say things that are just kind of, that's weird. It really doesn't have much context.
Yeah.
Dear Billy. I mean, it's a consistent trend throughout the movie where it just didn't do anything for me. But there are other moments of dialogue throughout this movie.
Yes, especially for Samuel L. Jackson.
One particular scene.
He says something towards the beginning of the movie that we were like, yes!
It kind of won us over right off the bat. And then everybody else had their moments as well, especially John C. Reilly. A lot of what's in the trailers definitely does play out the same exact way in the movie.
I enjoyed his character and what his character did for this movie. He was just like an interesting part of the story, and I enjoyed it. I thought that maybe his was going to be kind of like a throwaway character.
Correct, yeah.
But not really.
It was a primary thread from the beginning to the end.
Yep.
John C. Reilly's character is a very strong thread for the storyline. So I really enjoyed his incorporation in there. I thought he fit perfectly with the team. Of course, I thought everybody else in the movie, Captain Conrad. I mean, obviously, you got Loki, Tom Hiddleston in there doing some pretty...
There's a scene. Sorry to take over, but there is a scene.
It drove her crazy.
There's a scene. Oh, you'll see. It's in the trailer.
It's in the most recent
when he has the gas
trailer.
mask on and he has the sword.
It's a hell of a moment.
Oh my god! I was like the whole time. I was like, so ladies, if you love Tom Hiddleston as much as I do, you'll love that scene.
She got the vapors, but it was some really cool action scenes.
Yeah,
and
besides that one,
the style of shooting, I thought, was very similar to that last trailer they released. Now, I wasn't too excited for this, next movie. Based off the trailers, I was like, okay, it's going to be another monster movie, it's fine. But something about the last trailer that came out, I really enjoyed, because it was the incorporation of the 70s rock with the action playing out, as well as adding in that cinematic music. That's the whole movie. The whole movie is a pure mixture of these really cool scenes that
with iconic songs that came during those times.
Right, but those action scenes, I haven't seen things utilized that way since the Wachowski brothers, the Wachowski Starship, Wachowski sisters. But V for Vendetta was like kind of, for me also, the last time I saw these moments of action with slow-mo and then action again. I thought it did really well, not over the top, kind of silly like Resident Evil does.
Yeah.
But these ones worked really well, and they would shift into, as you see in the trailer as well, first person as well, where it's almost like a video game and the camera goes behind the gun that's fighting, and it just gives you all these different perspectives of how they piece this movie together, and I loved it. I enjoyed that part of it, which, like you said, the music of all the different time frames. Henry Jackman does the score.
Sure does. I love Henry Jackman, the way that he incorporates all of these different elements into his music, and I enjoy his music very, very much, and I thought that what he did for this movie was good. Like, it very blended with the movie itself, but there was some parts, like, I'm the type of person that would like hear the music and kind of block the movie itself out so that I could hear the music, and I was kind of hoping for like an iconic like theme. There was one like towards the end, or like with Kong himself, so that was good, and I enjoyed that there was that moment that I could go back and listen to that song and then think of that moment.
Now, aesthetically as well, they do a certain thing that I thought was kind of cool with the subtitles. It wasn't like, Civil War where it's like big text coming out at you. There was a really cool, unique way that they incorporate the text and where they are on location throughout the movie, which I just hadn't seen before, and I enjoyed that. And we saw it in IMAX, and what I really like seeing them in IMAX is IMAX typically has a countdown from 10, 9 to 1, and then the last movie that I remember was Mission Impossible, where they did it with the psh going through the countdown.
The last one that I remember was Suicide Squad.
That's right, Suicide Squad did it too. And then we were talking about it, like, what warrants them to do this?
Yeah.
Like, why doesn't Star Wars have one? Why didn't all the movies have these cool altered countdowns for the IMAX screenings? And there was one for King Kong, and I thought it was really cool to see, and it did kind of amp me up a little bit more leading into the beginning of
and I take, like, IMAX, I feel like you should do that for a lot of the movies that you do, because it does really kind of start the movie there.
Yeah.
Essentially. Because if you had, like, with Suicide Squad, it was like all this eerie, like, stuff, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm ready. And then with Mission Impossible, they did the whole Mission Impossible thing, and it got me into the movie too. Same thing happened with this one.
And it was a real cool thing to see. So, as for Kong Skull Island, I do love how they're incorporating it into the bigger monster universe. I was not excited after Godzilla when they said it was coming, but with the end credits scene, which it seemed like a lot of people knew.
There is an end credit scene in it. Yeah, it was weird. Like in our theater, majority of the people sat and waited. So it was cool because normally we would be the ones waiting and everyone would leave, but everyone sat through the thing.
Yep, they wanted to see what was at the end, so I'm glad they got that out there, that there is something at the end. Because even Marvel movies, I mean, it's a thing when you sit in a Marvel movie and everyone just, not everyone, but a good portion get up and leave, and everybody's like, what are you doing? There's more to it. What are you doing?
It's like it's a Marvel movie.
Some Marvel movies, Logan didn't do it.
Which is fine.
But, the Disney Marvel movies. But either way, Kong does it, and they do it very well, and they definitely tie it into this monster universe.
Yeah, it was cool. Like we're not gonna give anything away, but it was cool what they did in the end credit scene. So stay for that.
Yeah, and so overall, I would say for a fun monster movie, it felt like new age, old school. What I loved as a kid watching the old school Godzilla and King Kong movies. I would say for me, 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely slow moments to the movie, so I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Because there was some scenes that I was like,
the only slow moment for me was when you brought up the fact that this is kind of like Anaconda. And when you said that, the movie screeched to a halt for me, where I was like, oh yeah, it is kind of like Anaconda. But then it moves past it pretty quickly.
It does, but
and they get their one F-bomb in there, which is a very funny part of the movie. Which, keep an ear out for it. I really enjoyed it. So 4.5 out of 5 for me.
I'm doing 4 out of 5.
4 out of 5 for you. So check out Kong Skull Island. Really a lot of fun. Going with an open mind. And if
have no expectations. Just have fun.
If you really enjoyed that last trailer they came out with, you're really going to enjoy the movie, because I think that was a carbon copy of what to expect, but yet they didn't ruin anything. Because there were certain things that happened in those trailers, and it did not go the way that I thought it would go in the movie. It went a completely different way.
That's good.
And that caught me off guard, and I was happy that they did that. So other than that, guys, you can like and subscribe.
And do the thing on our Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram.
And you can also look for our Schmodown reactions every Tuesday and Friday. Well, late Tuesday, Friday, early Wednesday, and probably Saturday mornings. But until next time, now it's time to say goodbye. Bye.